Hi, second graders. So this afternoon for class, we read an awesome story called Chrysanthemum. And we each drew and then cut out a heart. Okay. So this book is about a little mouse who's really excited to go to school for the first time, and her name is Chrysanthemum. But when she gets to school, people start to bully her because of her name, and it makes her feel really, really bad about herself. So this story and this lesson is all about how unkind words hurt our hearts and wrinkle our hearts up. Okay? So I'm going to read the story to you, and then we'll talk about what to do next. All right, here we go. Chrysanthemum by Kevin Henkes. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. I bet most parents think that their babies are perfect, huh? Your parents probably thought that about you. "Her name must be everything she is," said her mother. "Her name must be absolutely perfect," said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. It is fun to get mail. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. "Hooray," said Chrysanthemum. "School!" But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. Uh-oh, that's the first time when people laugh at you, it doesn't feel good. So her heart's getting a little wrinkled. "It's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on your name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "You're named after a flower." Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. So her heart's even more wilted now, all wrinkled. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. "That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet," Victoria explained. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chud. "Now put your head down." "If I had a name like yours, I'd change it," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "I wish I could," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. So her heart's pretty wrinkled so far. All these unkind things being said to her. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower." "Oh, psh," said her mother. "Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome," said her father. "It's everything you are," said her mother. "Absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. That's a much more simple name. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," she wrote. "She even looks like a flower," said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. "Let's pick her," said Rita, pointing. "Let's smell her," said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Look at how crumbled her heart is now. It got all wrinkled up from all of these unkind words people are saying. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now put your head down." "I just cannot believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Poor Chrysanthemum, it doesn't feel good when people are this mean to you. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, psh," said her mother. "They're just jealous, and envious, and begrudging, and discontented, and jaundiced," said her father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said her mother. "After all, it's absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs, kisses, and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," the flowers seemed to say. The next morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. So they really love this new teacher, Mrs. Twinkle. She does sound like she's really fun and special. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a D. Oh, I bet they're about to make fun of her again. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. That means, what's so funny? Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Jo. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She is named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Jo. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower too. You are? Said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium, Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could barely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. So now that Mrs. Twinkle is to make her feel better about her name, I noticed something happening to her heart. It's unwrinkling a little bit. Jo, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Jo. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. So her heart feels a little better now. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. And then the epilogue says, overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. So I notice that now that people are being nice to Chrysanthemum at the end of the story, that her heart has unwrinkled. But in class today, a couple of students made a really good point. They said, well, yeah, we unwrinkled it, but it still has wrinkles in it. It doesn't look perfect anymore. And we decided that that's because once someone says unkind words to you, your heart kind of stays permanently wrinkled for a long time, maybe forever. And that's what we do to other people if we say unkind words to them. And I know that all of my second graders, all of my rainbow rhinos, are really, really nice, good people who want to make others feel good about themselves and not bad about themselves. So we had an awesome brainstorming session, and we decided that just to make sure that we're not wrinkling people's hearts, here are some things we can do. We can say kind words to other people. We can help people when they need help. We can give people compliments, even if it's something really small. We could tell them they did a really good job in math today, or maybe they did a really great job reading their poem, or their shoes are really cool and they light up. So little compliments can make people feel good. We also said we can help people when they get hurt, so they know they're not alone and they have a friend. We can ask people, do you want to play with me? Make sure they feel included. We can speak up for others when they're being bullied. So if you see someone that is being mean to someone else, you can stand up for that person and say, hey, that's not nice. We only say kind things here. And always go to an adult if you see someone being bullied. And last, our friend Marie in class made a really good point that we should treat others the way we want to be treated. So no one wants people to be mean to them. But if we're mean to other people, they might feel like it's okay to be mean to us. So we need to make sure that we're kind to other people so that they will be kind back to us. Okay? So your assignment for this story is to write at least 2 sentences about how you are going to take care of other people's hearts. What are you going to do to make sure that their heart stays unwrinkled? Okay, we don't want to make anyone's heart do this. We want to keep people's hearts nice and unwrinkled. Okay, so what are some ways that you can do that? I'm going to do an example for you right now. And I know that my light is making kind of a glare right in the middle of that board. So let me turn off my light. Oh, I think that's too dark. We'll leave it just like that for now, okay? So here's what you can do to brainstorm what you want to write, okay? I need to think about ways that I can make people feel good about themselves, make their hearts stay unwrinkled. So I'm going to start my sentence with, I will, and then say what I'll do, okay? So I know I should be a capital I. And then my next word, I need to get a space, will, okay, so I will, and what will I do to take care of people's hearts? I will ask other people to play. So I will ask other people to play. I don't know how to spell all of those words correctly, but that's all right. I'm going to write the sounds that I hear in those words. So I will ask, here, A-S-K, other, other. I hear an R. I will ask other people. People. I will ask other people to play. Play. I do know how to spell play. That's a sight word. So play. And now I have to remember what comes at the end of a sentence, a period. So this is the first way that I'm going to take care of other people's hearts. I will ask other people to play. Now I have to think of another thing that I can do to take care of people's hearts. I'm going to start with I will again. And look, I had room at the end of this line, so I'm going to keep going. I Now I'm kind of out of room, so I'm going to go to the next line. I will, I think that the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say kind words. So I will say kind words. Word. Words. And again, I'm at the end of a sentence, so I put a period. So here are my 2 sentences about how I'm going to take care of other people's hearts. I will ask other people to play. I will say kind words. So in your bin of school supplies, you have blank pieces of paper. You can use one of those blank pieces of paper to write your 2 sentences about how you're going to take care of people's hearts. This assignment is due on Friday, the 28th by 4 o'clock. Okay, Friday the 28th by 4 o'clock. I know you guys are all going to do a great job of taking care of other people's hearts this year, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow for our next classes, and I can't wait till we can be together in person. So I will see you guys later. Thank you for doing your homework. Good job. Bye.